Blackmyth Wukong has such an amazing story, but it can be difficult to follow without knowing the background. Why did the Guanyin temple catch on fire? Black Bear Guai has a tiny headband too? And the fireproof mantle was from the 4 heavenly kings? To better understand the story, we will first briefly go through what happened in the journey to the west, then explore those interesting details that you might have missed in game. Without further ado, let us go back to 500 years ago to where the story begins. In the end of the journey to the west, the pilgrims had finally arrived at Spirit Mountain and obtained the scriptures. Sun Wukong, the great sage equal to heaven, eventually became the victorious fighting Buddha. On top of that, he got his tiny headband removed, and all he wanted was freedom. He wished to go back to Flatfoot Mountain, Mount Huaguo, to live with his monkeys happily. Unfortunately, the Celestial Court wouldn't accept that. They sent the 4 heavenly kings, the army, and Erlang Shen to catch Wukong. Surprisingly, the tiny headband reappeared and restrained Wukong, leading to his death. His spirits then split into 6 relics, and maybe one day someone could collect all the relics and revive him. That's the story told by this old white monkey. But there's something wrong in this story. Firstly, why is Erlang Shen so rude? Ain't no way he called Xiao Tianquan a stupid dog.
蠢狗，放肆！还不退下！斗战胜佛，你可知这长生不老的佛位，有多少人求而不得？
长生不老，3界6道不就毁在这4个字上？
Why did Wukong say that immortality ruined everything? And why was the tiny headband still on his head? With all these questions in mind, we, the Destined One, are on the journey to collect all the relics and revive Wukong. And the first stop is Blackmyth Mountain. But what exactly happened there? In chapter 16 of the Journey to the West, Wukong and Tan Monk arrive at a beautiful temple in the Jade Green Mountain, which was the Guanyin Temple, or the Guanyin Chan Hall as translated in the English version. To make it easier to follow for those who read the novel, I'll put the original translation at the bottom. Upon their arrival, Tan Monk prayed sincerely while Wukong struck the bell, but instead of doing it normally, he kept striking it, and that was kinda rude. The Buddha's bell is used to announce the time. Getting up, sleeping, eating, prayers, everything in the temple relies on the bell. Most worshippers and visitors should strike it 3 times, as it represents food, fortune, loot, wealth, and show longevity. To enter the hidden map, we also have to strike the bell 3 times. Back to the story, the monks inside the temple rushed out. Who's the maniac fooling with the bell? Then they were scared by the look of Wukong. Inside the temple, they met Elder Jinchi, the old abbot. This guy was rich. He talked with Tan Monk happily and said he was 270 years old. The servants brought out gold-edged clubs with scant tea. Tan Monk was impressed by the high-class utensil and a lovely drink. Elder Jinchi then asked, "You came from such a great nation, Tan. Is there any precious thing you can show me?" Of course, Tan Monk said, "No, I've brought nothing." But Wukong said, "Master, I saw a Joshua in our bed the other day. Isn't it a treasure?" The word cassock was used in the English version, and the word kasaya was used in game. They are not completely the same, just like dragon and gnome. Cassock is a garment worn by Christian clergy, while kasaya are the robes of Buddhist monks. It symbolized a monk forsaking the material world. All the monks sneered when they heard the word kasaya. Elder Jinchi has hundreds of them. Then they brought out 12 truss of them, high quality with fine silk. Seeing that, Wukong wanted to show them the real kasaya. Tan Monk still tried to stop him. "Don't start the contest of wealth." Wukong said, "Take it easy, I'll take the responsibility." Then he took out the kasaya. Everyone was stunned. Well, of course, that was not a normal kasaya. In chapter 8, during the planning of the journey to the west, Yaoguai gave Guanyin 5 gifts to assist the scripture pilgrim. The first 2 are the kasaya of Everspas and the lyring priestly stuff. Those were the real Buddha's treasure. The remaining gifts are 3 headbands, the golden band, the tightening band, and the encaging band. They were used on Red Boy, Wukong, and Black Bear Guai. Elder Jinchi knelt down before Tan Monk and cried, "Please let me watch it for one night, please." Tamon could not reject it, but he was not happy. Wukong. Wukong said it's fine, I'll take care of it. At night, they went to sleep while Elder Jinchi was checking out the sire, but in fact, he was crying. A little monk named Guangzhi, which means great wisdom, suggested that they could just kill Tamon and his disciple. Another monk named Guangmou, which means big plan, suggests that they could just set a fire instead. We can blame them for their own mistake and no one will find the truth. Then they started walking around to prepare firewood. Although Wukong was resting, he was still aware of the outside. Hearing the steps, he transformed into a bee and found out the plan. But he learned the lesson before, no murder. If he simply killed all the monks, Tamon will be extremely mad. This time, he has a big plan too. He went straight up to the South Heaven Gate to find Feudal Paxer, Guangmou Tianwang, one of the 4 heavenly kings with red skin. He borrowed the fireproof mantle and went back to the temple to protect Tamon with it. After that, he took a deep breath and blew it out, whipping the fire into a mighty blaze. Let those greedy people have a taste of their own medicine. In a nearby mountain, a Yaoguai noticed the fire and he wanted to help. He flew to the temple, but something shiny caught his attention. He stole it and forgot about saving the monks. When Elder Jinchi found that the Kasai was missing and the entire temple was burning into dust, he felt so helpless and lost that he rammed his head into a wall. That's how he died. After the fire was gone, Wukong returned the fireproof mantle. You might wonder why was he so cruel? Well, there's a reason behind. In chapter 14, when Tamon's life was threatened by a tiger, Wukong killed it and Tamon was graceful. But soon, they came to a village and a group of bandits arrived. This time, Wukong killed him and Tamon was angry. How can you commit murder? I'd rather be killed. Wukong thought it was double standard. He didn't see any difference between tiger and human, Yaoguai and Buddha. If the bad guys are not killed, they will harm the innocents. They tried to burn me, then I'll burn them too. Fair. Next morning, Tamon woke up and he was shocked. Everything was ruined. On top of that, he lost the Kasaya. If Wukong didn't take it out to show off, all of this wouldn't have happened. He was so angry and began to recite the Taiying spell. In the TV series, he just mentioned it as a threat, but actually he did use it in the novel. Wukong fell on the ground suffering from the pain and promised that he would bring the Kasaya back. Asking the monks, he knew there was a black monster nearby. He immediately flew to the mountain and saw 3 people, a dark guy, a Taoist, and a white-clad noble. The dark guy was inviting them to the festival of the Buddha robe. Hearing that, Wukong could not hold his temper. He jumped down, striking his rod. The dark guy and the Taoist escaped, but the poor white-clad noble was one shot. The victim turned out to be a white snake. Then Wukong chased the dark guy into a cave. Blackwing Mountain, Blackwing Cave. The dark guy came out with full gear, black gold armor and a black tassel spear. He's the Blackwing King. We were lucky that he fought us with just like a sire in game. Who are you? He asked. Wukong laughed and introduced himself with a long article. At the end, he said, I'm the most famous Yaoguai of all time. Hearing that, Blackwing King laughed and said,
原来是弼马温啊
He insulted Wukong for once being a tiny housekeeper in heaven. Surprisingly, the battle was a draw. They fought till noon and the Blackwing King said, let me have lunch first. Then he went back to the cave and closed the door. We can hear the same quote in game.
何不等我进了山来，再与你斗？
You may wonder, was the Blackwing King that strong even the Grey Sage could not defeat him? My guess is that Wukong planned to let him go. Among all the Yaoguais we met during the journey to the west, many of them didn't even know who the Grey Sage was, let alone anyone who dared to say the word 弼马温, making this Yaoguai extra weird. A Yaoguai living right next to the Guanyin Temple, a monk living for more than 200 years. Isn't that really suspicious? I guess Wukong just wanted to figure out what happened first. He went back to the temple and reported to Ten Monk. After eating some food, he flew back to the mountain and this time, he saw a little Yaoguai walking with a wooden box, and he just one-shot the poor guy. Inside the box was an invitation letter to Elder Jinchi, so Wukong transformed into the look of Jinchi, yet the Blackwing King was cautious. Elder Jinchi arrived too fast. He probably came early to take back the Kasaya. No way bro, don't let him see it. They sat down and talked for a while, but soon a lesser Yaoguai reported that the messenger was killed. This time, they battled until the evening, and similar to last time, let's take a break, we'll continue next morning. Wukong went back to the temple to sleep. He was not hurried at all, but the Tan monk was. Once the sky was slightly brighter, he got up and urged Wukong to get the Sire. This time, Wukong figured out the key person, Bodhisattva Guanyin, the goddess of mercy and compassion. She's one of the most famous gods in Chinese mythology. In the journey to the west, she was appointed by Yaoguai to directly in charge of the entire journey. Wukong flew straight to the South Sea and asked for help. A Yaoguai living right next to your temple for hundreds of years, please explain. Of course, Guanyin was not pleased. You took out the Kasai to show off, burned my temple, and then blame me for that? Are you serious? I'll still help you, just for the sake of your master, Tan monk. Once they flew to the blackmyth mountain, they saw a Taoist who was holding 2 pills. And Wukong once again crashed the poor guy like he normally does. Guanyin was annoyed. How could you casually commit murder? Wukong explained that it was a friend of the black bear Guai. This is a thief. Turned out the Taoist was a wolf Guai named Lingxuzi. Wukong suggests that Guanyin transformed into this Yaoguai, and he transformed into a pill. We let the Blackwing King eat me, then I can beat him up inside. Easy as that. Guanyin was like, why not? Let's do it. She turned into Lingxuzi perfectly. Seeing that, Wukong asked a very important question. Is the Yaoguai the Bodhisattva, or the Bodhisattva the Yaoguai? Guanyin smiled and answered, the Bodhisattva and the Yaoguai, they both exist in a single thought. Considered in terms of their origin, they are all nothing. We can look at this answer in different ways. The traditional understanding is that if you act kindly, then you are a Bodhisattva. If you act poorly, then you are a monster, a Yaoguai. Therefore, you should restrict yourself and behave. But we are reading the black myth now. We can also think of the answer as, if you are accepted by the Celestial Palace, then you are God. If you stand against us, then you are a villain, a Yaoguai. They went into the cave and saw a beautiful place. It was gorgeous, just like the heaven. After looking over the place, Guanyin was secretly pleased. If this cursed beast could occupy such a mountain, it might be that he is destined to attain the way. Therefore she was inclined to be merciful. Right after the black bear Guai swallowed the pill, Guanyin revealed her true form and asked Wukong to stop. She threw the encaging band on his head and the black bear could just surrender. He eventually became the guardian of Mount Luojia. In the end, Wukong took back the Sire. With Tan monk, he continued his journey to the west.
走走走，游游游，跟位同前坐马牛，做人哪儿比做妖好？不怕阎王，命不休。哎。
This poem was adapted from the classic animation Lotus Lantern.
走走走，游游游，不学无术不发愁，逢人不说真心话，全凭3寸烂舌头。
Wukong Erlang was in that story too, and he was the villain again. The last sentence of the poem mentioned Yama, the king of hell in Chinese. Not scared of death, it already hinted the entire chapter. After 500 years, the Destined One stepped on the Blackwind Mountain. Beating some little roofs, we quickly found the first keeper's shrine in-game. In Chinese methodology, it is believed that every place has its own protective spirit, Tu Di Gong. When the Destined One was offering the incense, he shakes it instead of blowing it. Not because he could not open his mouth or to look cool, but to show respect to the keeper. Ancient Chinese people believed that turbid air exhaled from the mouth would contaminate the bridge between the sky and the earth. Notice that we plucked a hair and turned it into an incense. In chapter 15, Guanyin gave Wukong 3 life-saving hairs. They can protect him in extreme cases and critical moments. So when we are revived at the shrine, we are transformed from a tiny hair. If we enter New Game Plus, we will unlock the life-saving strand, which allows us to revive from where we were defeated. From the keeper, we know that the Guanyin Temple was rebuilt.
可人心若是烧没了，
修好一座破庙，又有什么用呢？
Next to the river, we'll meet the Manchu chief. It's a cross-chapter side quest, so we'll talk about it separately. Let us fight the Bulgar first. During the fight, the keeper will teach us the immobilize spell. He could also turn us into a golden cicada and teach us the cloud step. How could a tiny local spirit know these spells, and why did he help us? From his journal, we found that he met an aged Taoist with a vestment embellished with stars. The Taoist gave him a basket filled with mythical items and herbs, and requested him to help an old friend with a bad temper. The Taoist could not reveal himself, so he passed 2 spells for the keeper to teach his friend. When the Taoist left, a leaf floated down from the sky. Its tip was extremely slender and long, a Bodhi leaf. The Chinese version did not directly mention what leaf it was a riddle for the player to solve. Obviously, it was the real master of Wukong, his mentor, the one who taught him 72 transformation and the somersault cloud, our lovely Puti Zhu. Moving on, we're going to meet our first real boss, Guangzhi. Wait, is that you? After defeating Guangzhi, we found that he was not a monk, but a wolf Guai who yearned to be human. His master, old Lingxuzi, sent him to study under Elder Jinchi. He was kinda naive and got bullied by the fellow monks, so Elder Jinchi named him the Great Wisdom, Guangzhi, hoping he would grow clever and sharp. One day, 2 monks arrived at the temple. Hoping to repay Jinchi's teaching, he devised a plan. He regretted the mistake he made and forged a new weapon, the red ties, inspired by the raging flames he saw that night. With it, we can transform into Guangzhi and fight. But what I want to say is, it wasn't even your plan, bro. It was Guangmou's. If they listened to you and attacked the Great Sage with sword and spears, all of you would go down to meet Elder Jinchi already. Anyway, let's ring the bell first. And this guy, we'll talk about him later. After that, we arrived at the Guanyin temple and met Lingxuzi. This is not that poor wolf. Their English names are the same, but the Chinese name are different words with the same pronunciation. This is the Master Spiritual Void instead of the Master Transcending Void. When the Blackwing King was with Guanyin, he learned the mantra of revival. With the voluntary self-sacrifice of Wolf Guais, he brought old Lingxuzi back alive. But the old wolf could not accept that and left. Blackwing King needed a new leader for the wolves, so he picked a strong wolf Guai from the kingdom of Shito and gave him the name of Lingxuzi. Unlike the old master who pursued immortality, the new master only focused on strength. The local wolves disliked the new master and missed the old one. One day, the new Lingxuzi faked the roll call, gathered all local wolf Guais, and tried to defy all who dared to betray him. Luckily, our hero, Guangzhi, came to save the wolves. After that, local wolves refused to get close to the temple anymore. Outside the forest of wolves, we can see some wolf Guais chanting in meditation. They were reciting the White Rock Guanyin mantra. Some wolves don't really believe in chanting.
大哥，咱们跋山涉水来到此地，诵经念咒真的有用吗？
哎，我听说那黑风大王爷爷有南海相帮，你想的南海是何人居住？
Moving on to the bamboo grove, we'll meet Yuan Shouchen, the mysterious god guy. He has a long story just like the Forlongs, Frost and Ma Tianba, so we'll talk about them separately. Let us meet another old friend first, Guangmou. He was an ambitious snake Guai who aimed to be a legendary Yaoguai. When the old Whiteclad noble saw that Guangzhi was sent to the temple, he sent Guangmou to compete with the wolves. But no matter how hard Guangmou tried, Elder Jinchi never seemed to like him as much as Guangzhi. Elder Jinchi taught him to be less extreme, but he forgot his own words when he saw that Kasaya. Everyone knew that he wanted to kill Tan Monk, but only Guangzhi dared to speak the truth. It made Guangmou angry, so he came up with a bigger plan to add fuel to the fire. Surprisingly, it was the first time Elder Jinchi admired his read. Guangmou already saw the disaster coming, so he ran away and hid in the bamboo grove. If we transform into Guangzhi in front of him, he will actually say,
兄被你弄死了，真好！师兄的刀度，算死得其所。
Yes, I agree too. Guangzhi used the fire while Guangmou used the wind. It might be visualizing the Chinese idiom fan the wind, ignite the fire, which means incite, persuade, and stir up trouble, which was exactly what they did. And he really hates Elder Jinchi.
小僧法名广谋，若是今日死在你手，帮我带句话给师傅。肉眼凡夫，求而不得神仙骨，半荣半枯，几人之事，长生。
He's saying that immortality is the root problem of everything. Wait, we've heard that before. Guangmou was really smart, but he was blind by anger. Even when we defeated him, he was still flaming at the Jinchi.
施主如此执于外物，与我的师父又有何分别？
Next, we'll go to the Marsh of the White Mist. On our way, we'll meet Shen Monkey. He's one of the Chinese soldiers. By helping him, we can upgrade our gauze and bruise. Walking down the stairs, we can see another dead person, Whiteclad noble. But in fact, he was not that poor snake Guai. The newly appointed noble loves reading and poetry.
凤兮凤兮，何德之衰？往者不可见，来者犹可追。
This line is from the Analects of Confucius. Instead of looking at the past, we should look at the bright future.
善若不施，恶则不长。小生正在思量思量。
This line was adapted from Zhuo Zhuan. The original sentence was, kindness should not be lost, evilness should not be grown. He changed it to, if kindness is not lost, evilness would not grow.
一张一弛。
This line was from Li Ji, the Book of Rice. It described how the emperors of the Zhou dynasty governed the country. The combination of looseness and tightness, just like his attacks.
诸祸无门，为人所召。你还不明白吗？
This line also came from Zhuo Zhuan. It is describing karma. And the Whiteclad noble has a second face, which he revealed his true form. But he actually had a third face. The developers said that it was removed because even they find it too difficult to deal with. It eventually became the Jiaonong of waves in Mount Huaguo. We can see that they share the same likeness. Besides, he kept mentioning about his big brother.
然有匹夫之勇，必非大哥说的那个人。且慢，是大哥要我来做个内应，这才假意听命于那熊皮，守着后山要道。知君命不偶，同病亦同忧。
This line came from the town poem of Meng Haoyan. He's saying that we're in the same boat. His journal was not in the Yaoguai chefs or the Yaoguai kings, but in characters, who asked him to wait for us in the Blackmyth Mountain.
观音禅院是烧没了，可那长老的冤魂没有散。贪根不拔，苦树常在。你真正想要的东西，忘了最好。那三口中，你可都见过了。旁人念念不忘的，也是你所求的吗？
From his journal, he talked with the old Lingxuzi, and the old wolf was suffering. Living like this, drinking the blood, how could I bear to do that? He left, not by the path he came, but the road beside the marsh. Following the path, we finally saw the old Lingxuzi, and he already hanged himself on the tree. Until his second death, he was not willing to sacrifice the life of his fellow wolves. Below him are the local wolves praying for their master. They are reciting the great compassion mantra.
Namo Sola Dana Dolayae, Namo Aliye, Olu Jedi Shoboraye, Puti Sado Poye, Moha Sado Poye. Striking the last bell, we went back to the ancient Guanyin temple. Obsession transforms from the unfinished aspiration into space, which can be navigated through certain objects. Remember the Whiteclad noble said the elder soul adores. Opening the door, we can see the golden Jinchi. As he rammed his head into a wall, he had black dried blood on his forehead. His moves refer to his scene in the TV series.
徒儿们，又有外面的老爷们过来了，给我带新宝贝了。
After the frustration of reviving old Lingxuzi, Blackwing King decided to use the mantra of revival again, this time on his partner, Elder Jinchi. But the soul of the old monk did not return his body. Instead, it fused with the coins he buried in life. It became the wandering white we saw in the forest of wolves. If we did not defeat the white before Elder Jinchi, his soul will be freed and we cannot attain its spirit. The active spell of the spirit is also wearing his head. Until now, he's still obsessed with the Kasai of Everspace.
定是你把那袈裟藏起来了，快还给我！
And Guangmou was right. Elder Jinchi really preferred Guangzhi.
你也回来了，好徒儿，那唐僧师徒想死没有啊？袈裟呢？
His abilities also showed what kind of person he was. Remember the Kamehameha? The real version is by absorbing the souls of his past disciples. He can also consume their souls to heal himself. He's the symbol of greed and selfishness, but greed eventually leads to nothing.
我今年270岁，空成了几百件袈裟，怎么得有他这一件？不！光毛，那袈裟我不要了，不要了！你们别烧，都别烧了！
Many years ago, little Jinchi was catching a toad. It was known as a fortune teller as it referred to the three-legged golden toad in Chinese methodology. Ancient Chinese people believed that it would bring you wealth, so he could probably sell it at a good price if you catch it. He didn't even care about the dead bodies on the ground. That led him to a monster. Yet the black bear didn't hurt him. Instead, it shared its skull with the little monk. Notice the bear looked at the temple first, only then the little monk followed his sight. It might have already shown their difference in pursuing the way.
百卷情，千般缘，色与空，弹指间，轮回路，有万次劫，求不得，闭上眼。
Form is emptiness, emptiness is form. Was Jinchi born greedy? Maybe not. He was carrying a backpack, which indicates that he was probably a traveler but not a monk in the temple yet. During the Jia period of the Ming dynasty while the Journey to the West was published, if you want to be a monk, you must first pay a large sum of money to buy the certificate of ordination. Due to the famine at the time,
Many people wanted to be a monk in order to get free meal from the temple or to evade military service. It caused the lack of income for the country, so the certificate became a new test method. Luckily, little Jinchi got his sponsorship. Besides, Guai also taught him the magical breathing method, which made him live more than 200 years. In exchange, he had to recite scriptures for the bear. But when he first arrived at the temple, he was kinda confused. Everyone has a gorgeous kasaya, and he looked out of place with his poor clothes. Isn't the kasaya a symbol of forsaking the material world? He was too young to understand it. When he grew up, he was still wearing the common clothes. However, he could not lift up his head. He closed his eyes, lowering his head to a point that lust defiled him.
一生功名忙如烟，浮沉落花关不绝。涅槃究竟寻常事，有情处不远。
In the end, he got a kasaya too. He could finally stand tall and climbed confidently. Floating dust and falling flowers were used to describe mortals. With the magical breathing method of the Guai, Elder Jinchi lived more than 200 years. He already owned everything and he didn't care anymore. Nirvana means one has transcended to a superior state in which there's no suffering and no desire. Jinchi felt like he has reached the final goal of Buddhism. This time, he took off his kasaya and put on his common clothes again. Nothing could ever touch them, but is this the right way?
口中念，心中念，现世报，却方便。修行路，无名情，翻动时，莫等闲。
The moving pennant refers to a tale in Tan Jing. One day, a pennant was moving as the wind blew. A monk argued that it was the wind which moved. The other argued that the pennant moved. It was a never-ending debate. Hui Neng, the sixth patriarch of Chan, intervened and said, it was neither the wind nor the pennant, but their noble hearts which moved. Everyone has their own perspective. You can see the kasaya as just a piece of cloth and focus on the never-ending spiritual practice. You can also see it as the symbol of power and achievement. It all depends on how we look at things. After 200 years, a young monk from the east brought the perfect kasaya he had never seen before. This time, Jinchi's pennant moved.
一生功名情如烟，最苦人物在少年，最是萤火情失眠，谈真挚，看见。
He preached with empty hands and passed nothing. He competed for property leading to lifelong mistake. Should make a scale with gold and silver to judge the merits and crimes he has committed. Is this the life he wanted, Jinchi?
Master, 徒弟还是想不明白，出家人尘缘已断，心海尽干，长老他为何偏偏放不下一件衣裳？
In Chinese, Guai said the monk should be ties are cut, gold seeds dried. The gold seed refers to the endless lust, so a monk should dry his gold seed and quail his lust. If we look at the name of Elder Jinchi, he is Elder Gold Pool. He still has a tiny little pool inside his heart. Was he just one step away, or was he not even close?
若不披上这件衣裳，众生又怎知我尘缘已断，金海尽干？
Back to the real world, after freeing the soul of old Lingxuzi,
we can obtain the fireproof mantle. Even the keeper was surprised.
避火罩，当年大圣从广目天王那里借来的神器，居然还在这里。你想必是超度过那个人了。
Their wishes have been settled, but our journey has just begun. Moving on to the Blackwing Cave, we already know who is waiting for us, the Blackwing King. He said he had rebuilt the temple, freed the souls of the monks, and restored the burnt scriptures. After returning from Guanyin, he realized that strength alone could not win respect, so everything he did was to earn awe and loyalty. But what the journal did not mention is that he probably wanted to please Guanyin as well. When he saw Guangzhi, he said,
广志，命已为师傅手中，你怎坏了？学人玩火，我只想再烧一回禅院。
After defeating the Blackwing King, he escaped to the top of the mountain, and we learned the cloud step from the keeper. From the crate on the left, we can find the curio, agate jar. It is the large Canadian agate sandal vase from the Qing dynasty, which appeared in the TV series and belonged to Elder Jinchi. Blackwing King really took care of the relics of his friends. Then we chased all the way up to the top of the mountain, and the Black Bear Guai finally revealed his true form. Just like Guangmou, he also talked about Elder Jinchi.
那家伙曾经对我说：“眼不见心不乱，寻常修为，入一切相，破一切相，方得自在。”可是他自己看到那些东西后，不也疯了吗？
And the Black Bear learned to use fire now. If we use any ability with fire, it will ignite the Black Bear Guai and jump straight to his second phase. Luckily, we got the fireproof mantle which made us immune to any fire damage. But why was it with the old Lingxuzi? We can only find it out in the following chapters. If we enter New Game Plus, we can use the Platinum Fan to extinguish the fire. Besides, if he hits rock solid with his right hand, he will shake his hand. If he hit us with his left hand, he will even fall on the ground. You asked for it, don't you?
你的铜头铁脑呢？
After defeating the Black Bear Guai, he tried to escape and took the relic away. However, he suddenly fell on the ground crying in agony. He said he was threatened by the Celestial Court and forced to fight the Great Sage. He had no idea how to make use of the relic, so he just enchanted it up on the tower. The relic was the Chongming Liao, the four-eyed bird, which is a mythical bird with two pupils in each eye. It looks like a rooster and sounds like a phoenix, which can fight against monsters and protect people. It perfectly represents the Great Sage piercing eyes. But not everyone could see clearly. Elder Jinchi was blind by the Kasaya, Guangmou was blind by anger, and the Blackwing King was blind by fame. After completing Chapter 1, it seemed that the Black Bear was really foolish. He rebuilt the temple, but Guanyin doesn't care. He tried to revive his friends, but everything went wrong. He hired a new Whiteclad noble, who turned out to be a spy. He obtained the Great Sage relic, but was not able to make use of it. His journal said, a fool of ambition is worse than nobody. Even the narrative old monkey made fun of him.
好好的守山大神不做，又跑回黑风山做长生的美梦。可惜空有贼心，却无贼胆，骗得了小妖，骗不过自己。他的命，自带上禁箍之时，便已注定。
It was straightforward that he was just a fool, or was it really the case? If we complete the following chapters, we'll find out that everything was a lie. Even the opening scene was fake. Wukong did not die to Erlang alone, but also 5 powerful Yaoguai kings, including the Black Bear Guai. When we look at other Yaoguai kings, all those who tried to use the relic end up miserably. The Bull King, who was warned by Wukong and dared not to use the relic, was fine physically. Even the foul spider can consume the power of the relic. It is hard to believe that the Blackwing King failed to do so. Maybe he just chose not to. So why did he lie? The reason might be that he didn't even want the relic in the first place. When he was given the task of killing Wukong, he did not accept the mission right away. A few days later, the golden acolytes of Guanyin, Longnu and Sanchai, or the Long Princess and Red Boy, came to him for the final answer. Then he refused the first time, saying he was incompetent. The second time, saying the task was too difficult. The third time, he tried to use Guanyin as an excuse. However, none of that worked, so at the end he could just remain silent. Finally, the Long Princess ran out of patience and was going to report to Guanyin, so the Black Bear had no choice but to accept the mission. On the other hand, Red Boy was interested about the Black Plan, but the Black Bear refused to tell him any detail. A few days later, when Black Bear Guai was leaving, Red Boy showed up and requested to join him, yet the Black Bear once again rejected him. He just mentioned that Red Boy's father, the Bull King, will go too. It showed how challenging the task was. To risk one's life just to remove a headband is not worth it. Black Bear Guai was like a wiser version of Wukong. He calculated the risk and chose the better option. If we listen to the Black Bear once again, he mentioned that he already taken off the headband.
若小圣饶我这一次，我自当回到南海负荆请罪，重戴金箍，从此不再离开普陀半步。
Unfortunately, although the physical headband can be removed, the restriction on the soul will last forever. Doesn't it seem familiar? Looking at the poem of the Black Bear Guai, the first two sentences were still criticizing him, but the last two sentences were interesting. He could predict the future and became part of the Celestial Palace. Still, it doesn't work. On Body Peak, he learned life's worth is peace. So he sat patiently on the Body Peak to be officially defeated by the Destined One. Was the Black Bear Guai actually dumb, or just pretending to be dumb?